Emerson.
And I'm Mackenzie.
Thank you so much for joining us. Is it? Thank you. Oh, no.
You guys.
Okay.
Arrow key.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so I'm so sorry about that. So what exactly is the problem at hand here? Teacher burnout is currently spreading across schools in Indiana like wildfire. Teachers are becoming overworked and exhausted from their current jobs and quitting before there's a chance for new teachers to fill their roles. Teachers need more help in the classrooms to help reduce the chance of burnout as classrooms are becoming too packed and teachers need another set of hands. There are several possible solutions to this problem, but our program, Teachers for Teachers, focuses on one in particular.
Okay, so let's do like a quick little, what is burnout? So a few key terms that you can keep in mind is it's more like the feeling of exhaustion, the increased mental distancing, and with those two, it also is leading teachers into wanting to find a new occupation. So that's why a couple of their feelings for leaving education. So then is teacher burnout different? To simply put it, yes, it is a little different. So while educators do experience all of these same symptoms, just because of the unique demand of their job, such as like high workloads, emotional strain from students and parents, and then just like challenges in like their administrative work, but which all of this can also lead to the decreased teacher effectiveness, and it also it negatively impacts the student learning outcomes, as we can see as for some teachers.
Okay, so while we were working on this project, we decided that we wanted to collect data from current teachers. So we created a survey and we sent it to 41 randomly selected principals across the state of Indiana, and also 7 other individual teachers that we knew, and we were like, yeah, they'll probably take this survey. We received a total of 43 responses from teachers covering pre-K to 12th grade, and we do want to let you know that we're aware that our results are a little biased because we had so many more responses from one school system than the others. So the first question we asked was, how long have these teachers been teaching? We found that the least amount of years one of our respondents had been teaching was about 3, and that the most was 37 or 36. And then here's the breakdown of the school corporations that we got responses from. Obviously, Noblesville sent it out to the most teachers, but we got responses from Clinton Prairie, South Spencer, North Harrison, and South Bend as well. And then we asked these teachers if they had aides or volunteers in their classroom already, and the vast majority did. However, a majority of that majority only had them for specific students or only had them really inconsistently. So we felt that exemplified the need for this sort of thing. And then the last question we asked, I'm sorry, the picture was a little fuzzy, but was whether the teachers thought that having someone else in their classroom consistently would be helpful to them. We found that the majority said yes with 23. Most of these responses are like, yes, but you would need them for certain things. And then we have 10 no's because most of the teachers who said no were either secondary or taught subjects like music and art. And then I wanted to highlight a couple of the quotes from the teachers that we got. So we got, contract hours are not work hours. Nothing is ever taken off our plates. Money dictated that we lost them being the aides that they had. Aides are pulled to sub and fill in when teachers are missing, which pulls them from the job they're supposed to do. And education is no longer valued as much as sports and outside endeavors. We felt like these quotes really exemplified the effects burnout is currently having on teachers.
So what exactly is our plan? We've been talking a lot of research, but now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. So, our first step in our plan is to find volunteers, such as us, that are going to go into these schools in Indiana and go out and explain our plan like we're doing to all of you. Then, we're going to find 8 volunteers. We're going to go out to high schools, colleges, universities, and find people that have majors such as education, counseling, social work, etc. that really love to work with kids and also have the same passion that we all do. they're going to go into these classrooms and they're going to help out the teachers with anything they could possibly need, with helping the students read, with doing grading work, with anything that the teachers could possibly need to help get a load off of their back. And that goes into our third step of our plan, giving teachers a helping hand. We're going to really help them out in these classrooms and really give them a chance to breathe and really help them find that passion that they once used to have. And really take the time to explore new options in the teaching opportunity and maybe try something out that they couldn't do because they were so overloaded with work.
So now going into our budget breakdown, as we were given the total of $25,000 to use. So we split it up into a couple different categories. So the first one would be our transportation expenses. So usually gas in Indiana right now is averaging around $3.28 per gallon. And if we're going to want to have our 30 volunteers travel to different schools statewide, we're recommending them having to do at least 2 schools each. We would give them about $20 per school, so that'd be a $40 total for their gas compensation. And then we also have another $1,500 set aside to help our high school students if they are interested, as they will need some help getting to and from schools. And then moving on, we have our conferences. So we have that for $3,000. So that's just more for if we are going to send like our volunteers out to teacher conferences or various events. That way they can spread the word or give more information to people who would like to listen about it. Then we have our advertising, which is another $3,000. So for this one, we're mostly going to be thinking of like posters, website design, and like social media campaigns just to kind of help our cause and get just our word out there for them. Then we have our background checks, and as you know, background checks can kind of vary from $50 to above. So with that, we have set aside about $6,300. Just that way it can be dedicated to helping the students afford the background checks that they need, so that way they can still volunteer. And then lastly, we have our motivation, and we have $10,000 designated to motivate like universities, students, and colleges just to like join our causes. Then we have a couple of problems that could occur. And so we were thinking that the lack of interest from high school or college students could be an issue. And we kind of thought about that for money for background checks and the incentives. That's why we put that in the budget. And then participation, that could also be, we could also work with the schools just to continue going. Required time commitment, that's why we have study hall, have a free time. And then aides not knowing their roles, we could do that. With that, we could do the orientation videos and communicate with the aides and teachers through emails.
Paying it forward.
Time.
Thank you for listening. Yes.
I must have talked too much.
I loved your assessment of problem solutions. I thought you did a good job of kind of mapping out everything that could be an issue. I'm curious, had you thought about any sort of feedback system from teachers who use these aids to assess the quality of the aids themselves? Like if a teacher didn't like an aid or they didn't do a good job?
We hadn't, but I feel like that would be relatively simple to put in place, because it could be something as like simple as like a questionnaire, like another Google form that they could fill out every once in a while to like keep us updated on how the aides are doing.
Something that also could be done is the way that we kind of wanted to program this is the people going into these schools are going to be doing it through a certain class. There is going to be a teacher that is teaching this class, obviously, so they'll have communication with the teachers that are going to the school, so that's an easy way of communicating about the feedback as well.
You did a nice job of highlighting burnout as far as one of the problems. But did you consider like the other factors or retirement that was part of the problem statement? What did you find with that?
When we did the survey, the majority of the teachers that we surveyed cited burnout specifically as the main reason they were wanting to like leave the classroom, or that they had considered leaving the classroom. So I think that's why we focused so much on burnout, because when we asked teachers who had been teaching for as long as like 36 years, they were still like, yeah, it's just burnout, it's not retirement yet.
Also, to kind of add on to that, it's mentioned more in our paper, but we do realize there are a lot of different problems to the solution of teacher shortages, and we felt that with the money that we had, we couldn't focus on everything. So we wanted to focus on kind of keeping teachers that already had the passion and might have just been like losing it due to burnout, and kind of helping them gain that passion back.
And yeah, like when we sent out that survey to all those schools and like we got that information back, that really kind of helped kind of strategize which way or which point we really wanted to hit on, because as we know, there's so many other, like Sophie said, so many other things on why teachers are, deciding to retire or leave the education. But just from our survey, from what they said that burnout was, so we really focused on that, as that was kind of like what our data gave us, so.
Could you share a little bit more detail about the 10,000 you have allocated to motivation? What does that mean exactly?
So for that, so we thought about this too, so we thought about that, okay. So, I got prepared. Okay. So for that, it's more of like motivation, as in, like we could have like little fun fairs or something like that, where we could go to like schools, because we still want to, show students and teachers like what we could do. So it's kind of like little like fun fairs that we could go to or like hold for people to come in and just kind of like
Focus mostly on like the high schoolers who we would want to be participating, like to like make the whole thing sound a little more fun, because like it will be fun to be in a classroom, but like motivation would be like having events about it.
And the reason that it's $10,000, because we know that is a big chunk of our budget, and I think that's kind of why you asked the question, is we want to make sure that, especially starting a program that hasn't even started yet, we want to really like get it up and running and make sure it continues to skyrocket upwards. So we want to make sure that we have so much money to help dedicate for incentives and making sure that we can actually get this program started.
And then like if anything like that we maybe didn't plan for,
Mhm.
that we didn't have in our budget, we do have a little wiggle room with that 10,000
Yes.
that we can kind of take apart or put back or kind of do what we need to do with it.
Thank you.
You had mentioned finding volunteers. Where might you find your volunteers?
So actually we would start out with just the three of us if we were going to do this, and then we are already in the realm of education. We're all elementary education people. We also know people in upper or secondary education and things such as that, so we would find our friends and family and help them join the cause, because all of us are very passionate about teaching.